Be your own best friend. I'm finally giving my body what it needs to heal. And now I have to trust that my body knows what it's doing, and I have to trust that it will take the time it needs to get where it needs to be. Day 18. The big thought is, how do you change? So I've wanted to change, and there's so many things that I wanted to get better. I want to have more patience for the people I love. I want to have more patience for myself. I want to be more zen, grounded, be more accepting of my faults. I need patience. Patience with myself, trust in the process, patience, trust in my body. Remember that my body is not my enemy, my body is my best friend. And that's something that I've really lost sight of over the years. My body is my teammate. I'm finally giving my body what it needs to heal. And now I have to trust that my body knows what it's doing, and I have to trust that it will take the time it needs to get where it needs to be. It's hard having the patience and the trust, but it's necessary. I'm not going to give up. How do you change? How do you become grounded? Well, I've spent the last year living with my mom after being completely blindsided by my ex. And I really truly believe that things lined up perfectly for me to survive a very bizarre situation. Mom has a background in healing. She used to have a health clinic and had so many tools at her disposal for trauma, for survival. We spent the last year healing and doing a lot of reflection and looking at patterns, because I don't want to be a victim of my circumstances. I refuse to be a victim of that man. I refuse to be a victim even to myself anymore. One of the things that we've been discussing is this idea of, how do you stop being a victim? And that's really by taking responsibility for yourself. And that's terrifying. It's so scary to finally take responsibility for yourself and to make the steps, start doing the actions that lead to health. Do the actions that lead to saving yourself, because nobody's going to save you. And if somebody is supposedly saving you, there are strings to that, because it's not healthy. There's a big difference between someone saving you and somebody offering you help or tools. Someone who sees that you want to help yourself and is able to assist in that is completely different than the whole savior-victim dynamic. It comes down to this thing that runs in my head all the time: becoming your own best friend. So no one's going to give you answers to questions you refuse to ask yourself. So being your own best friend is taking responsibility for yourself. It's asking yourself the really hard questions. It's looking at yourself in the mirror. It's asking yourself, okay, if you're in a shitty situation, how did you get there? It's being loving enough that temporary pleasure does not take precedence over long-term well-being. That's a tough one. But it's so much more enriching, and the quality of life goes up exponentially when you start treating yourself that way. My long-term well-being is worth more than my momentary, temporary pleasure. It's not about being restrictive in the sense of Puritanism. It has nothing to do with that. It's about being loving and kind. And the more loving and kind to yourself you can be, the more patient and loving and kind you are to everyone in your life. So today's been a lot about feeling better than yesterday, so my stomach's settling. And I think a lot of people, if you don't know by now, this science is out. There are synapses in your stomach. So your stomach is essentially a second brain. And if your stomach is no good, then your thinking, your full body thinking, is not able to be 100%. Today was about simplifying after yesterday's stomach stuff. I went back to something I discovered in Victoria, which is butter beef soup. Ground beef with a bit of water, salt, And then once it's cooked and warmed, then I add a bunch of butter in it. And when I was in Victoria, we made like this brown, no, what was it? It was butter beef soup.
Hamburger soup. Hamburger soup with butter and a little bit of salt.
Today, I was able to concentrate more. I was able to be more productive, play guitar, did some scales, which I've never liked to do before, but I'm really enjoying. I also got a whole bunch of computer work done, some emails, and even yesterday with all of the stomach pains, I still did 2 Zoom meetings. I keep thinking, oh, things are not going well, but they're going so much better than when they went badly before. Yes, eating this way, but remembering to also treat myself well and get enough sleep in when possible. Having my circadian rhythm so off is definitely not helping. So I'm adjusting that. I went to bed early yesterday and hopefully finishing up this fast enough that I can go to bed relatively early tonight in a healthy, non-toxic, toxic positivity way. Be your own best friend. Reframe things so that glass of Coke is not a treat. That glass of Coke, reframe it and go back to the facts. What's in Coke? A lot of shitty stuff. Coke can literally clean the rust off your car. So imagine what it's doing to your stomach. It's not a good thing. Be your own best friend. Stop lying to yourself. When your brain starts telling you that it's craving something that your stomach definitely doesn't want or your body doesn't want, remember to reframe it into facts. Then remember you're your own best friend. Tonight I'm having some second thoughts. I don't know why I'm putting these out there. And I keep asking myself, who would want to listen to a skinny white woman? I'm more than just a skinny white woman. I'm a human being having an experience, looking for answers. I'm a human becoming, help me to become. I'm just hoping that something I've said, something that I'm going through, something that I'm living, that I'm sharing with you can hopefully resonate with you and that you can feel less alone. So I definitely am feeling like a bit of a freak with my butter beef soup. But my friends have been really supportive so far. They don't quite understand why I'm doing this. They don't quite understand this way of living, that they're being incredibly open-minded and loving and supportive. And I'm also finding that through people like Kelly at Homestead How and through educating myself around the science of why I'm eating this way. And the science, not that I feel, I think, but the actual science behind health and behind what we're actually eating. This is getting easier and easier, and I'm feeling more and more supported and less crazy. But if you're out there and you're living through something similar, well, hopefully I made it so that you feel less odd. If this helped, subscribe, like. I can't believe I just said that. Subscribe, like, follow, and leave me a message, because it's through conversation, it's through communication that we learn, and that we're able to examine what we think and what we feel and what we believe and what we know, and we can continue to grow. So here's hoping that you are growing, that you are learning, that you are taking responsibility for yourself and reaching out to anyone who's willing to aid you in that. The more my stomach heals, the more my mind is able to work clearly. Both minds, my stomach mind and my brain mind. And I'm able to do full body thinking. On that note, sweet dreams, or good morning if you're just waking up.